Well, welcome back to Factorio MSX Gigabase. Just thought we would pop in here by the engine facility so that you can see how we're going. 4.6 thousand per minute. This part of it needs to be able to produce enough engines for Blue Science. Blue Science is 6,000 divided by 1.4 for 6,000 science per minute, and productivity modules meaning 4,300. If we're producing 4,600, we are doing the sort of amount that we need. Now, the other thing while I'm here is I'm just going to check how many bots we're using. It looks like I've put in 1,600, but we're managing with about 500, although they're not needing to fill up these requester chests at the moment. So maybe I will prune it down to about 800 at some point. If I don't need the other ones, I'd have to find exactly where. Oh, there's 300 over here. Right, I'll take you out. There's another 350 up here. $900. Close. I just got worried then. Worried me for a second, but only a second. Where is another big collection? 200 in there. Where does that leave? 792. Maybe I'll give it another. Just knock it over 800. That hopefully is enough to include the bots needed for moving the engine units around. So yeah, one thing I did need to do is these guys. If it doesn't have the second requester, it's not able to go continuously. So it's not able to keep the amount of iron it needs for the 2 plates every half second sped up, however many million times this is. It's just not able to cope. So it needs 2 stack inserters to feed it. The ones for pipes only need 1 iron per second in the per half second in the recipe, and it seems to manage just fine. So that's one change that we needed to do. I have renamed that. I've renamed that. We need to come up here and sort out the electric engines now. They haven't been done yet. This one will be the electric engine unload. Oops, I don't want those fancy brackets. I just want a normal bracket, normal square bracket. And EE load. What has this actually done to? Not that much. Very little, in fact. 4,000 gears per minute. Those numbers must be jumping around quite a lot, I would think. Although maybe not, because we are getting a multiplier on the gears, so how come so many pipes? We need 2 pipes per engine. Ah yes, that's right, we needed 2 pipes per engine. I forget these things, so I don't think I've made the change along here for gears yet. I need a second requester chest, I need a stack inserter, and we need to copy that requirement across. I think I only have the 1 gears in there. So we need steel, we need iron for this side of things, and we need green circuits. So I changed this to 2 for loading the train. I guess I will start with doing that on the the electric engines train as well, although it doesn't actually need to load quite as quickly. But we only have 3 products that we're unloading, so hopefully that works out. Given that we we have four chests per product, 4 chests per wagon, and only 3 different products, and chests hold more than each wagon, that should be okay. So yeah, we've changed these, haven't we? The name of these, yes, and that one, yes. Okay, so yes, steel, that one should be fine. This one needs to be iron plate, iron plate, and iron plate. And this one needs to be green circuit, which will probably make that 32,000. 32,000, since that's how many you get on a train. Right, we will need 1 train counter, 3 publishers, and this one is steel. Oh, by the way, I've added in a slider on the priorities, because otherwise it was going through the bottom. I think I still need a filter button though, so if you wanted to see, for example, where can you get steel from, at the moment there's 2, but you're going to have to look for them to find them, and we actually want to use this one that's the S for steel. So that is the steel one, I believe. So let's use the S condition. This one is the iron, which I want to still get from iron 1 for now. And this is the green circuit, and this one is the green circuit, and green circuits, there is only the one option at this point. So that should be sending us our trains. We've got a steel train on its way in a very short period of time. This should be the steel train. In a very short period of time we should see this side fire up into life as well. Are we still producing engines? Yes, we are, at a huge rate. Steel will eventually kick up into a slightly higher gear, I would suggest. Oh, this doesn't have bots yet. If we needed 800 down below, I think we can probably make do with less than that here. Whoops, so that's 400. That'd make it 750. Let's try that for now. Steel's gone. It'll be interesting to see what gets ordered next. 3 trains are on their way, so a second steel train, a green circuit, and an iron plate. Iron plate made it first. That will be enough to kick these guys into action. And the initial load, the other thing is these need to be requesting, I think I need to request about 1,000 in each of the requester chests. Oops, to fill each wagon, because they stack to 50s. So now we should have a increasing number of engine units. I do have the double there, don't I? Oh, yes, blue inserters. That's never going to work. We need stack inserters on these guys. Something that I completely forgot. Let's see how that is going now. This engine's number should climb rapidly up to what? It was 4.6. It should be sort of 6.9, something like that, I would guess. Seems to be running fine. How about these guys? Yep. And they're all running. Why aren't these guys running? Because they don't have the correct ingredients. Right, that would make sense. How's our robot count? Kind of seems okay. Oh, these are even the wrong formula altogether. Right. That's better. Now let's see how we're going. Getting into the 6s. 6.1, 6.2. And electric engines 1.8. What do we actually need for electric engines? That would be 3,000 divided by 1.4. 2,000. We need 2,000. What are we getting? 2,000. 2,000. We need 2,100. Is there any issue here? We have lubricant. We have all these engines working just fine. Don't think there's resource shortages. It is possible I'm going to need a second one of these. Based on what I was seeing, it seems to be permanently short of resources relative to the demand. How are we going? 6.1, 6.2. Let me just see. So 9,000 divided by 1. Divided by 1.4. Should be 6,400. We seem to be slightly low. I wonder if I have under-specced these guys. It's constantly showing negative there. That seems to be the most likely, the most plausible of issues. What about bots? Bots seem fine. How's lube? I don't have a radar over there, that's no good. Let's get a radar over there. Or even over here might be better. Now, how's lube? Lube, 121,000. That should be fine for a little bit longer. Are these numbers getting any better? No, it does seem slightly light. So, we're getting a 1.4 on these machines. So if we need 6400, if I divide that by 1.4, we need 4500 of the gear wheels. We seem to be making enough gear wheels, so this is at 2.1 now. I'm not sure. It should be making enough. If it's not, I guess we'll tweak it. But what you'd like to see how that's going. I haven't really been looking at steel and iron. Steel 2100, that seems lighter than it needs to be, but I guess it's pre-buffered up a little bit now, so it probably doesn't have that much action. I finished up over here, although it clearly needs some radars as well. I've assigned, what's that, 10 trains to this area and cut back the train numbers elsewhere, but we won't see that until they start flowing through here. And of course I've got this mechanism that won't let trains in when there's too much ore. I think it's 16,000. They need to get below 16,000 to allow trains in. So all of these are fine. There's only a tiny bit of work going on because we're not really tapping our steel capability really at all at this point. Now what's this one? You are a steel, aren't you? Why don't you... You're trying to get in there. Why are you trying to get in there? Because there's 64,000 steel there. This one's trying to get out, but there's no room. Okay, well, I suppose that's fine. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, there's Big Bro Steel online. Iron 3. Let's grab an iron icon and a 3 icon. Cancel just next to it. 3. So you can see it's iron 3 and Big Bro Steel. Can get a steel icon and Big Bro Steel. Because it can handle this sort of demand from engines without even batting an eyelid. The numbers right yet? Doesn't quite look like it is, does it? 2.2. What did I need for electric engines again? 3,000 divided by 1.4. 2.1. I needed 2.1. I'm getting, it's jumping around, it's sort of there. We might be right. I mean, the numbers, the maths sort of panned out, but you never know in a mechanical thing if there's some choke point that you're not aware of. It doesn't appear so, so let's leave it. Okay, what do we need to do next? And welcome back to this final segment. So I'm back in by the Make Everything factory near where I'm doing testing, and what I would like to do is test out the science lab. So this is likely to be the configuration that I'm building science labs in. Now from bonuses I know that I have a research speed plus 250%. So if I take those two out, how many percent? I've got 2350%. Let me for a second remove all of these and see what it tells me. is the speed. 250%, right. So I put these back in. 250. So how does this work exactly? It was 250 before. And we are multiplying that by 150, it looks like. No, that's not quite right. I'm not quite sure. This is why I am doing a test, because I'm not really sure how this maths works. How do you get from 250 to 425? That's a 1.7 increase. Not understanding that, never mind. This is why I'm letting the machine give me the numbers and we're actually testing it. So, speed modules alone, we get to 2350. Put productivity in there, of course, and it's 2245 because it makes almost no difference when you speed it up this much. The productivity, because it's an additive reduction. That seems like an insane speed. So if we were doing, in theory, if we do 1 science a minute, we can divide our 1 science. Well, if we're trying to do 6,000 a minute, because I want to know how many machines, 6,000 a minute, we can divide by 1.2 for the productivity, and then we can divide by 23.45 to get 213 machines for 6,000, well, 0.2, so 214 machines to get 6,000 science a minute. If that is correct, how much science do we get from 1 machine per minute? Basically, we get 23.45 times 1.2, 28.14. Mind you, I actually don't want to count that 0.12, so our 200 and whatever. Let's just do the 6,000. That should be 23.45. What is that artillery, in fact? It is, it's 30-second science. So we'd have to halve whatever result we got from doing this. But what I think I'm going to do is we'll get some requested chests. We'll get some stack inserters. I don't actually have that much science in storage, so we won't be able to do this for very long, but it will be a very interesting test nonetheless. You can be red science in the amount of 1,000. You can be green science in the amount of 1,000. You could be military science in the amount of 1,000. Hopefully I actually do have all the sciences, because I'm not 100% sure. We might have to choose something else if I don't. Green. How do I get 900 instead of 1,000? It should be 1,000. I may have actually exhausted all of one of the sciences, which would make this a little unfortunate. Do we have green science? Let me just check. We're in the right network. I just want to look up science. I don't think I have green science, so I'm not going to be able to do this experiment. That's terrible. Alright. let's ignore that fact for a moment. Blue science 1000, purple science 1000, and yellow science 1000. Let's just do that. Green science needs inserters and transport belts. Let's just build out this module. Get a speed on green science at this rate as well. Obviously you need those guys, so your speed is unknown. No, 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 no. I don't want you doing that. Never mind. What do I want you to do? I will just take that off for the moment. Right, now, if I make this a passive supply, and if I... so it's... I should know this. Inserter belts times, say, 1000. And yellow inserters times 1000. It might actually take some time for the yellow inserters, because we use them with other inserters, so we probably don't have a whole lot of them sitting around from the old factory like we might for these other things. Inserter. Yeah, we've got none. None as such. Alright. How many did it actually deliver? 80. That's not going to work. We will just extend this experiment one further nodule, if you like. Nodule over. Now you need, why do I keep putting it up there? No idea. You need one of those, we need one of these. You are going to request in, what are we up to? 122. I want about 1,000 just to see how long it takes to get through it, so we're going to need a bit more than that. You are going to make these guys, and that is simply 11111. Let me use productivity. Alright. I guess this will be a little bit of a test for how we actually build out the green circuits, which was not my initial intention, but certainly 525. Right, okay. I probably don't have enough logistic bots in here to really supply this out in the way that we want, but that's fine. So what are we up to? I'll just wait till it gets to near to 1,000 and then I'll probably choke it. You can see that obviously one stack inserter feeding this is not going to be enough. Very obvious if you look in here. Pause, last pause, etc. What are we up to? We're up to 500. What sort of speed is on this thing? 11.25. That's not too bad. It's pretty amazing, really. Almost 700. So I guess somewhere around about 950, and then I'll just stop that. Now I'll put us somewhere close. Now this measure of logistic robots is not really a very fair measure, because the robots in this network are travelling far further than they would be if it was just no, I don't need all this stuff. You guys can just go to, actually we'll do that. Get them all out of here. There's 15 bots in here. Oh, there you go, it is a K. Alright, so now what we can do is get the green science happening. It's 8, of course, here with the 40% productivity, so actually we're going to end up with about 1.4, but that's okay. A little bit slower getting through all of this, I would guess. This is 30 seconds to consume a science. So how many in advance do we need? Maybe if we get to about 100, that should do. Because this will take quite a lot longer with each one, so we don't actually need to pre-stack it too far. In fact, what we will do is we will start this little science test right about now. No, we won't. We'll get rid of the yellow beakers first, because that will possibly get in the way. So, there we go. And we are resuming science. As you can see, 30 seconds doesn't take very long. Let's have a look at our prod figures, because that's the only way I'm going to get any sort of accurate measurement here. Our consumption figures are the numbers that I'm interested in. Let's look over. Well, 5 seconds is probably not too bad at the moment, so it's sort of in the order of 48 science packs a minute from one machine. Which, given the 22.45, 1 minute's probably starting to be accurate now. So it's basically half of whatever this comes up with, and 23.45, it should be about 46. And indeed, 46, 47 is what it appears to be. So that is actually a pretty accurate gauge of what it is. Nice. Now I wonder if I should just let it burn through the supply, since they're otherwise useless. But okay, so we're getting about 23.45. Let's go back to our maths quickly. 6,000 divided by 23.45 is about 256. So I guess that's the number of these guys that I need. Do I have a constant combinator? I do now. I will very shortly. Constant combinator. then be science, machines, and 256. Here we go. One answer done. Now, green science. This would actually give us a reasonable measure of green science, I guess, as well. One green science is doing about 112 a minute. 10 minutes isn't long enough. 112 a minute. Does that make sense? We know it's 6 seconds per. We know we are a speed of 8 and 40%. Productivity, yes, it is starting to make sense. So you get 10 a minute times 8 times 1.4 equals 112, and that is the number that we are getting. 112 a minute. So green science to produce 6,000 we would need 54 machines. Which is quite a good result, because that kind of implies that I can use these guys in the same build. Since we all get 6 rows, I don't need 54 doesn't really fill out a minimum build of sort of at least 11 a row. That would be about 66. So the smallest build I've done, there'd be room for sort of 12 of these machines and the other ones that we need. Well, these will obviously need cogs as well, but that certainly implies sort of how we're going to go about the green science. That's pretty good. Now for SpaceX science, we need twice as many, so that will just be 2 modules. So that if in fact it's 1, which I think it probably will be, 1 module, we'll get 2 that way. I didn't check the sort of rate that we are able to achieve with these. Maybe I should. What is it? 1 every half a second if it's adequately fed. And it's 11.25. So I mean, again, we would need 6,000. Divided by 120, which is 50 machines, and then divided by 11.25, which comes to 4 and a bit, so basically 5 of those. Maybe I should do a constant combinator per. I know I'm building constant combinators here. Let's get about 10 of them. I don't need 10. 5, 6, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 5. Now we've got 50, so don't worry about it. Alright, so, yeah, green science is basically 256. Is that right? No, those were 256. Green science was 54. Because green science was 112 a minute. It's 5 of these guys to supply it. Which would imply that it should be 3 of these ones. And how many cogs then do we need? Iron gear wheel. They're half a second as well. Half a second. They do allow for productivity modules. So it's a speed of 8 that we'll get. So that's one iron gear wheel for these guys, and one iron gear wheel there, so it is 2 iron gear wheels required per oh, actually no, that's only a half. It's 1.5 iron gear wheels required per second. 1.5. They make 2 a second. So it would be 9,000 required in total, divided by 120, divided by 1.4, and divided by 8. We need 7 cog machines, which unfortunately means that our maths doesn't add up to a nice even number. There you are, 7. 10, 15, 69. Oh well, we'll work something out, but that's green science. We'll finish these calculations up in the next episode. I think we've done enough. I was mainly finding out how many of these I needed. 256. 256 divided by 6 would be rows of 42, which is obviously far too much. But if we instead made it 256 divided by 12, it's 21, so that's no good. 256 divided by 18 is 14. We could maybe work with 14. That would be three stacks, 14 wide. It's just over 14, so it's actually not a great divider there. Or 256 divided by 24 would be 11. Maybe that's the best, 11. So 4 stacks of 11. Anyway, let's leave it there. I will join you guys next time when we will continue crunching out our science and build something more in the factory. See you then. Can't wait. Bye bye for now.